Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm geeking, and this is pure authenticity. I love Monique Kelley. This is Tosin, by the way, host. I love my HBCU ? And I hope you are watching and not just listening. And for those watching, you are seeing one of the most beautiful human beings. Monique, hello, how are you?
I am wonderful, and you are absolutely stunning. Like, I just absolutely stunning, drop dead gorgeous inside and out. Obviously outside too.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Monique, you don't know me at all, but you should know I'm going to say this just based on the conversations that we've been having before we hit record. So, again, I hope you're watching because in her background are four gorgeous women. She's laughing because she knows it's coming. They're four gorgeous women, and I just need the rest of the world to tell us in the comments when this episode airs. The lovely lady to the right of her shoulder. So, according to Monique, it's Diane Carroll. According to Tosin, it's Donna Summer. I can't tell Monique that she's wrong because no, I'm not going to do that. We're going to blame wherever she got this print from. But tell us, what do you think it is?
Well, they told me what I thought, who I thought it was. I thought it was like one of the sexiest pictures of Diane Carroll. That's what they said it was Diane Carroll when I ordered it. I ordered it because I was like, this is one of the sexiest, most modern pictures of Diane Carroll. Go ahead, Tosin. Tell the people what you need to tell them. Tell the people what they need to hear.
That it is not Diane Carroll and that it is Donna Summer. We've had fun. We've absolutely had fun with this beautiful background that she has. But Monique, I said this just before we start recording, and it's true. Obsessed might be a little bit too strong because I don't want you to think I'm a stalker. I promise you I'm not. But the first time I saw you grace our screens, I said, I love that lady. She's got this beautiful big smile and it's welcoming. You give me that energy of if you got angry with me, I would take it from you because there's just this buoyancy about you. But as opposed to Tosin just fawning over you, because I could spend the whole 45 minutes to an hour just fawning over you, I'm not going to do that. I am going to instead talk about one of my more favorite things that I've seen you on lately.
Okay.
Anyone who knows me knows I am now this is an obsession. I am obsessed with Married at First Sight. Let me be very, very clear.
Yes.
Obsessed. To the point that I might be the only person I'm aware of that's been watching it from season 1.
Me too. That's
you too?
Season 1 when it was another pastor, not Pastor Cal, and they were in New York.
Yes. Yep. Season 1. So if you're okay with it, I want to ask you a couple of questions. And you can answer these questions as a viewer, not as your special role as one of the hosts of the reunions that they have. We can go that angle. I know no names. I don't know any of the names, but be honest, Monique, what was your opinion? Remember the season that this gentleman could do no wrong. They were both Caucasian. This gentleman could do absolutely no wrong. And then we would find out later on that him and I want to say the sex therapist at the no, it wasn't the sex therapist. It wasn't the sex therapist.
Yeah, it was the therapist. It was the therapist because Dr. Viviana came on after her.
Yes. Thoughts? What were your thoughts when you found that out later?
You know, it was interesting because I'm a proponent of finding love in the most unusual places, right? So it just makes you wonder, what the circumstances were behind it. Had they started dealing with each other beforehand? They said that they hadn't. So we'll go with that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where if it didn't work out with him and the person he was married at first sight with, and the therapist, she was available, they found love with each other. They're still married. And if I remember correctly, I think they have a baby too. So, that was
Aw.
probably his soulmate. So we're going to go with the idea that it was done on the up and up and go from there.
This is classic Monique. I'm gonna talk about Monique like I know her. But this is classic Monique because she's always gonna put the positive spin on everything. So we'll take it. Absolutely. So I'm not gonna lie, I totally agree with you. I'm of that school of thought. Here's my slight however.
Yeah.
My slight however is before we got to know that they ended up together, right? Just watching that season and watching how, at least for me, I was on his side because it seemed as if there's nothing this guy ever did that was ever right for the young lady. She has claimed after that season ended that it's because she saw some things behind the scenes, and so that's why she was like that. I don't buy that.
Yeah.
You could have been nicer to him. But okay, let's leave that alone. No, we're not leaving that alone.
You go on reality TV, and you can't blame editing, right? Because editing only works with what you have given them to edit. So I think it's important. People are so quick to say, well, they edited it this way. You gave them stuff to be able to edit. So you have to know that going on to reality TV.
Would you, as what did I write down here? I wrote that you will be my dating coach someday, just FYI. Would you ever consider a married at first sight experiment as a way to find love?
So I always say people that go on these various reality shows are brave because you're putting yourself out there in such an unconventional way. But I also think back to decades ago when dating apps had just come out. It was kind of the same feeling. It was very taboo. And now fast forward and you look at it and it's kind of like, oh, okay, dating apps are the thing. And then also looking at culturally, for certain cultures, they do married at first sight and the people stay married for years to come. So I'm from the mind frame and school of however it takes people to find love, to meet their soulmate, go for it. You have nothing to lose.
So you know what I love about that, and it coming from you. Those of us who know your story, we know about the divorce. We know that you still wanted to bless the world, is what I'm going to call it, with the creativity that just lives within you, regardless. And it's lovely to hear somebody who did not have a love work out for the duration of one's life in that way, i.e. things ended in divorce, still talk about finding your soulmate and being open to all the beautiful things that love has to offer.
Yeah.
I'm going to flip that on its head. Its head. You've given a lot of advice. You continue to give advice, and you're going to be tired of Tosin reaching out for advice after this episode ends.
Ever.
Never. I love you. I love you for that. Oh God, my dad is upstairs. So my parents, this is the flip that I'm doing, right?
Okay.
My parents have been married mom and dad have been married for 46, 47 years. And I hear stories of persons who've been married for a very long time and they get divorced. I don't believe my parents are going to get divorced. I don't believe so. But what do you say to persons? I think I know what Monique is going to say because this is positivity over here. But what do you say to persons who have spent that much time together, have fallen out of love, but they stay together instead of what I would say going after another love? What would your advice be?
Okay, first of all, congratulations to your parents. 46
Yay,
years.
mom and dad.
That is what a beautiful blessing. That's absolutely beautiful. And I always say this. I want to be very clear because I make sure to say this. I am a dating expert, not relationship, right? I can get you to the relationship, I can get you to the marriage, and once you get there, I suggest people take advice from people like your parents who have been married for 46 years. I'm very clear on that. So I
Okay.
preface this by saying that, okay? But
Absolutely.
I believe a lot of times in dating, you, especially you're a person of a particular age, I'm talking about the 40 plus, you've have baggage, you've had life experience, and you've healed from that. And you're at a place in your life where you're healed and you're ready. And a lot of times the beauty of being healed is being unapologetic for what you want. But sometimes the challenge with being healed is someone can have an imperfection that you mistake for a red flag. Imperfections are not red flags. You have to be
Ah.
open to the possibility of people having imperfections. Now, there's certain things that are non-negotiables, deal breakers, but imperfections are not things that you run away from. So with your parents in a marriage that lasts long like that, they have grown with each other. They've gone through the ups and downs, and they have made a commitment to be with each other through the good times and the bad and grow with each other and work through those valleys as the same way they work through the peaks. And there's something to be said about that, about having the tenacity to stay married. Now, if there's a certain level of major disrespect or like extenuating
Mm.
circumstances, that's one thing. But marriages are going to go through ups and downs, and you have to be ready
Of
to go
course.
with that with the right partner, which your parents have done. I love that.
And I can tell you now that they
Okay.
love you, even though they have
Oh,
not
they
met you. Because
do.
everything you just said literally is them. So they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, she knows us.
We family, girl. We cousins.
We really are. We really are. So of course, this is I love my HBCU question mark. And it when I tell you that I found out that you are a Hampton alum, I was like,
Yes.
she has to come on our podcast, even though we're going to talk about everything else.
Yep, yep,
She
yep.
has to come on the podcast because I think it is and I mean this with every fiber of my being. It is so beautiful to see persons like Monique Kelley, who graduated from HBCUs, doing them. And I'm just going to say doing them because life is different for all of us. And it gives the Hamptonites, the Howardites, Morgan State University Bears, you name it, who the world sometimes tells you that you may not have picked the right school or blah, 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 blah. It shuts all of that noise down when you see somebody who has, we're going to call it unapologetically, whether that's really what it was or not, but has unapologetically created a career pathway and a life that gives students at those current institutions a beacon of hope of what lives could look like for them. So I appreciate you for being a Hamptonite. I appreciate you for being here. Before I delve head on into some of the HBCU questions that I want us to bring up, I'm going to treat you to our rapid fire segment. It is
Oh, okay.
67 seconds. Going to throw a bunch of questions at you, and none of them will be on Donna Summer or I'm not letting this go. Toastin, stop it. That's not nice. I need to let this
Oh
go.
my God.
I need to
That's
let
the
this go.
funniest thing ever.
I'm going to let it go. Okay, so are you ready for the rapid fire?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Ooh, describe your HBCU experience in one word.
Epic.
Epic. I love that. Ooh. If your time in college was a song, what song would it be?
Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. Oh my God. I'm having a brain fart because there's so many, some appropriate, some inappropriate. It depends on the year and the day. It would be, oh God,
Give us the inappropriate one.
I can't, I can't even, I don't even. Okay, I'll go old school. Good Times by
Good
Lashik.
times. Good times.
I'll go old school.
So I think this is a better one for you on this question.
Please, yes.
Same, same preface. If your time in college was a guy,
Okay.
yes, if your time in college was a guy, who's your dream date?
My dream date, if my college was a guy, I had a great college boyfriend. My college boyfriend was amazing. Like he was a great guy, still a great guy, happily married to, so respectfully, but he was a great guy. So I will just say my former college sweetheart. I won't say his name out of respect for his current, but it set the foundation for good relationships later. And you look back and you're like, okay, that
Perfect.
was a good relationship. There's something about that HBCU love, whether you end up with the person or you don't, there's nothing like it.
Girl, no, not for me. Mine cheated on me and had a child on me while in college. So
While
not
in
for me.
college?
Look at her face. Yes. And I actually hope he sees this.
We gotta go out for cocktails after this because girl.
True
in
story.
college?
True story.
Oh my
True
God.
story. Undergrad, woke up one day. Yes, you had a baby on me. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is
Yes.
like,
Yes.
and when happening young like that really affects your dating for years to come, unless you healed right away. And back then, I mean, not say back then, I don't know, but back then we didn't have the same self-care was not the buzzword of the day. So we had to figure it out later on in life.
You're right about all of that. No, Tosin did not heal well, all of that stuff. Yeah, all of that, all of that.
Yep.
But we're here now. We're here
Okay,
now. Okay. We both we totally disrespected the 67 seconds, but I've still got 2 more questions for you.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. It's supposed to be a speed round.
I guess it's not. Shout out your favorite professor and what did they teach?
Professor Patton. He was my favorite professor. He taught theater. I was a theater major. He taught theater. Professor Paul Patton.
Last question in what is no longer a rapid fire. What would you have wanted to tell your college roommate but didn't?
My college roommate, once I moved off campus, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We were roommates the junior and senior year, and then we moved out to California together. We both started our new lives in California together. So we both gave each other the courage to move to California cross country. And I will forever be grateful to Shauna Orr for that. Or she goes by Akasha Orr now.
That's beautiful.
But she was
Akasha
just a
Orr.
great roommate and a great person.
That's beautiful. I like the way you phrased that. You both gave each other the courage.
Yeah.
Because we don't always have the courage to take that necessary step.
Yep.
Or even if it's a unnecessary step, you never know. Take the risk anyway. You
Correct.
gave each other the courage. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So you are from, which I found out recently, from New Jersey, but you ended up at Hampton University. And we all know from New Jersey to Hampton University, there are more than a few HBCUs on the way.
Yeah.
So how did you tell us your college selection journey? How did you end up at Hampton?
Well, I always knew from the very beginning I was going to go to an HBCU because I always went to predominantly white schools all of my life. My great-grandparents, grandparents, and parents all went to HBCUs. They went to Southern. And, back then, A Different World, too, that was like the show. So watching A Different World,
Yes.
everyone wanted Whitley and, Whitley Gilbert, Dwayne Wade. So watching A Different World. So I always knew I was going to go to an HBCU. And I grew up in New Jersey, and then I spent my last 2 years of high school in Alexandria, Virginia. So there were 2 reasons why I ended up picking Hampton. One, I thought about going to that other HU, but living in Alexandria, Virginia, it was too close. I didn't want to be, I love my mother. I love her, but I didn't want to have, my
Ah.
mom would have been doing pop-ups. Okay. So that I was like, I need to be far enough where there's preparation and mama can't be doing pop-ups to see what I'm up to. Then I went to Hampton University's campus. And out of all the HBCUs, to me, Hampton University's campus was and still is absolutely beautiful. It's
Yeah.
surrounded by water, it's green, it's lush, and it was beautiful. Not to mention when I went to Hampton, the boys at the time, I was like, oh, I've never been around this many Black men at one time. They were fine, they were gorgeous. And I was like, between the campus, the boys, everything, I'm going.
Nice. I love it. If I had a penny, not a penny, nobody spends pennies like that anymore, Tosin. If I had $1 for how many times the reason why someone picked the HBCU they went to was either for financial reasons, I get that a lot, but also because of having visited, and then once they visited, it was love at first sight. They weren't turning back.
Yep.
They really weren't.
Yep.
A lot of people give credit to Spelman College for a sisterhood of Black women
Yeah.
from an HBCU. And this is me being honest. Clarissa, who is also a Hamptonite, when she hears this, she's going to be like, thank you for giving me credit for that, Tosin. Clarissa Okbaleke, amazing lady, is a Hamptonite. And watching her with her cohort of Hamptonite girls or women, my apologies,
Yeah.
I kind of sense that Hamptonite women give Spelman women a run for their money when it comes to sisterhood.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if that's what you experienced at Hampton as well, because I admire it. I am a little jealous of it every now and then, to be extremely honest with you. They are tight, and it's a sisterhood that Clarissa graduated, oh my gosh, I don't know how long ago, but it's been over 10, 15 years, safely 10, 15 years. Every year, you're going to find her with some Hampton sister somewhere, engaging and enjoying. Tell us what brews that for you at Hampton?
I love that you said that, because Hampton and people who marry Hamptonians, or Hamptonites as you call, but Hamptonians or Hamptonites, they are like, if
Sorry.
they haven't got, oh no, it's either or, it's fine. When they did not go to Hampton, they're like, you guys are like a cult, because there's so much love and connection. When you meet someone on that campus, our favorite saying at Hampton is, we don't shake hands, we hug. And literally, the camaraderie, the sisterhood, even, with the brotherhood, the guys that we meet too, there is so much love. And it's just fostered on that campus. For instance, the first person I met at Hampton, the very first day, she was in my wedding, I was in her wedding, I'm the godmother of her son. I still speak to pretty much all of my Hampton friends. We're still just as close, and we just go through life together from being at Hampton. So it's interesting because everyone's always talking about Spelman, or now like the buzzword for HBCUs is Howard. Everyone thinks there's just, that's the only HBCU in the country, which is fine. Keep our Hampton, secret and sound and private and exclusive. But it's just like that sisterhood. It's just fostered on that campus of love and support.
Honestly, whatever started the foundation for that, and whatever continues to brew and breed it, kudos you. Those who know where Hampton University is located, it's sprawling. It's not right around the corner. So for you to be able to have that type of a legacy from a place that is far enough away,
Yes.
I find that impressive. I do. I'm a Howard University alum, but let's be fair. Howard University is right there in the middle of Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Yep.
And you were going to engage with so many different facets, whether you liked it or not. So I think it's a little easier, if you will, for Howard University to have that kind of legacy, and a little harder for Hampton University to have that kind of legacy. So I find that legacy palpable for
Thank
Hampton University.
you.
Again, kudos, Hampton University. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I want to get to reality and chaos. I
Oh,
do, but before I
yes.
get to
The foundation of it is that sisterhood of the three ladies that met at Hampton. So yes, yes, yes.
let's go there. Let's go there, because I was going to ask you something else, but no, let's
Oh,
go
okay.
there. And for those who haven't read it, I haven't finished, started, haven't finished. You hear a title, and when you hear a title, you make assumptions. At least I do, before I actually start reading. And it's not what I expected it to be. Tell us what inspired Reality and Chaos.
I love this is the perfect question following the question you just asked. What inspired Reality and Chaos is my friendships, my sisterhoods from Hampton University. That's what inspired it. The friendships that have gotten me through and sustained me through my life are from my Hampton sisters. And also, let me not forget my girls from high school. I'm still very close to them too. But the foundation, Reality and Chaos, it starts off, they are graduating from Hampton University. All three of the characters, they are close friends, three very different characters, but yet they are still the same and they are bonded from Hampton. And it starts there and it journeys through them turning 40 and where their life is and the twists and turns where life be lifing and how their friendship helped them get through life and sustained them through life's ups and downs. And it all started at Hampton. And it was important to me writing my first book. First of all, most people thought my first book was going to be a dating guide book. And I was very clear I wanted to write a novel because I wanted to be able to go on a journey without feeling judged. And it was important to me to pay homage to Hampton University in that because it played such a key, important place in my life and many others.
I love that. I love everything you said. I was a little sad as I was listening to what you were saying. The slight sadness, it's not real sadness. The slight sadness in that is I've never been that lucky, and friends will tell you that I'm vocal about it. I don't regret how I was raised. I don't regret my upbringing. God, I do believe in God. God makes no mistakes is a statement I always make. But when I see a cohort of ladies who are so close, and no matter what chaos gets thrown into their lives, they are still in each other's lives in the most realistically beautiful way, not that perfection beautiful way, but in a very, very realistic beautiful way. I do every now and then, I'm a people watcher, so I do every now and then get a pang of, wow, I wonder what that would have felt like for me, because I don't have that. And I'm in my 40s. When you get raised all over the place, you don't always get to keep a cohort of people with you, which leads me to seek some advice from you. Guys, didn't know this was going to be my therapy session, but this is my therapy session. When I'm in my 40s, and when you hit your 40s, I do believe it's a little harder to make friends.
Yeah.
And this not being a dating guidebook that we all thought was going to be your first book, but one that really does talk about real relationships, and then friendships at that, and sisterhood friendships. What do you say to somebody like Tosin, who has good friends, don't get me wrong, but then you hit your 40s and you wish it was closer? What do you say to people like me who don't have what these three girlfriends had, or have rather?
I love that question because it's very real. Not everyone has that experience, to your point. And it's beautiful to talk about friends you've known from high school and college and have gone through life's ups and downs with. But one of the friendships that needs to be talked about more, that is equally as important, if not even more important at times, are friends you meet midlife, later on in life, that you meet them later on in life and you can't remember a time in your life without them, although you met them later in life. And those friendships are just as important because they take you through the next part and the next journey of your life as you enter that phase of adulthood. So I say to you, cherish those friendships because those are equally as important. Because I'm looking at you, you look good, you ain't going anywhere anytime soon, you're healthy, and those are the friendships you get to enjoy later on in life unapologetically as well.
So Monique, because that was my therapy session, so I'm going to ask you to, extend a little bit of your sage words to current HBCU students,
Yes.
who I don't know how close you are to. I'm still an academician at Morgan State University, and so I always like to say that I am blessed to be around the current and future generation on a consistent basis, and it is amazing to hear the words that come out of their mouth, good, bad, and indifferent, by the way. But it's amazing to hear the words that come out of their mouth. Friendship is a big issue for them. I would love to hear what you have to say about knowing how to recognize a good friend in college, as well as what you would have to say to them about being a good friend in college.
So let me ask you first, what are some of the issues that they are having with friendships that you hear?
Oh gosh, this I can give you a list, but I'll just give you top three ones.
Okay.
Is not actually knowing, and this may not just be a friendship thing, not actually knowing how to break the ice. They don't want to go up to talk to anyone, believe it or not. I walk into a classroom of mine, for example, and I actually have an exercise that I do within the first couple of weeks of classes that has them matched together, and they have to go on a friendship date, because I've found that if one does not kind of push them in that way, they're just literally going to be on their phones the entire time, until the professor says, "Okay, guys, it's Dr. Tosin here. Let's start." No, before then, silence. So that's, I don't know how, is the first one that I hear them say a lot. The
Okay.
other one that I hear them say a lot is they expect loyalty. And I'm not going to say the rest of it that's in my head, but they expect a loyalty, sometimes an unreasonable loyalty, if you ask me, from these friends that they meet. Those are the two big ones that I know. There's one more. Sorry.
Oh.
One more. The other one that I hear, especially when it is between different genders, as friends, that the person always wants more than friendship. And so there's no such thing as things being platonic.
Yeah.
And so it causes these ripples, like bad ripples between their friendship groups. Those are the three that come to mind immediately. Again, I can give you a longer list if you want it, but those are the three that come to mind immediately.
So, I hate to sound like the old lady, but when we were in school, we didn't have social media. I don't think we even had cell phones. It wasn't well, we had cell phones.
I know I didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't something like everybody had a cell phone. So I think social media, cell phone, everyone's walking around, they're in their own world instead of looking out. So I think that's one of the things. And that's what made college so great then, because we didn't have social media. So we did a lot of stuff, honey, that, didn't get caught on social media. So, when some of us big sisters try to judge the little sisters for what they're doing now, I'm like, now, girl, you did stuff way worse. You just didn't get caught because we didn't have social media. So there was a freeness to it. So, okay, let's take that off the table because there's nothing we can do about it. We have cell phones and social media now. It is what it is. But I always say, take moments to put it down and be in the moment instead of everything having to be an influencer and on your social. Enjoy the actual moment. Number two, friendship is earned. It takes time to build friendships and get to know each other. Trust and believe, college, post college, even recently in my 40s, friendships shift. People change, their attitudes change. Some friends are there for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. So not everyone's going to be there. So when you get to college, your freshman year, you are learning a lot. You're learning who you are in this new environment. So the person you were your freshman year might not be the same person you were your sophomore year. Or, for a lot of people in college, you go to college, your freshman year, you're close with people, then one of you goes Greek or both of you go Greek, but it's not the same sorority or fraternity. And it changes. And I think it's important that you realize, regardless of sorority, fraternity, whether you're in one or not in one, making sure you entwine and keep those friendships going. For instance, my high school friends, they didn't go to college or an HBCU or, but I still maintain those friendships. You got to learn how to maintain it and realize that it's also reciprocal. So I think that's important. As far as men and women, because we already know, even at our grown age, listen, having a male friend is interesting because sometimes I have great male friends that they are wonderful, but the ones that I have been able to be true friends with, a lot of times it's because they have partners, they're in other relationships, I'm in a relationship, so that's not there. But oftentimes, especially in college, your hormones are there. It is what it is. You might be attracted to the person, you might have a couple of drinks at a party, and things happen and it gets tricky. That's college. You're learning and figuring it out. And you don't have to have it figured out. Take the pressure off of yourself, college students, to have it figured out. We didn't have it figured out back then. It takes time.
That one blows me. That's the look on my face is absolute agreement with that last statement that you made. And everything has become a crisis. Every single time that they don't have it figured out, it's a crisis. And I have to sit there and I have to, not because I don't want to, but I literally tell myself, Tosin, watch your face. Tosin, watch your face.
Watch your nonverbals. That's what Professor Patton used to always say to me. Watch your nonverbals, Monique, Kelley. That's what he used to always say to me. I get it.
Because sometimes I'm like, come on. Is this really what we're freaking out about right now? But everything is a crisis. And like to your point, I think it's born out of wanting things to be right all the time, wanting things to be perfect, impossible, and always thinking, you're not supposed to have it figured out, and that's okay.
Yes. If I can tell students,
but they're not going to listen.
Students now, coming from I'm not even fully recovered, but a recovering perfectionist. I spent most of my life wanting to be perfect, making sure everything is perfect. I say the right thing, I do the right thing, almost to my detriment. And I would say in recent years, I'm finally in a place where I am able to let go of that. And what's interesting is it affects different relationships because they're so used to you being a perfectionist or being a people pleaser or being a certain way that when you finally break free of that and you're like, I'm not walking on eggshells. I'm not afraid to make a mistake. It's okay. It makes people uncomfortable, but it makes you feel free. So if I can say to anyone younger, try your hardest not to go into the pattern and becoming a perfectionist. We are all perfectly imperfect. And if you can start off now realizing you're not a perfectionist, you don't have to, that's going to be the biggest gift you can have as you go through life.
I hope they hear you. I hope they hear you, because that's you literally just described Tosin, and I don't think it's there yet. No. I don't think I've fully recovered, but I'm looking forward, because I want to be able to just say F it. I really do.
Exactly. 0 F's given. Okay. You're mad at me.
I do. I want to be able to say it and mean it.
Yes. And not care.
And not care. I still care. I want to be able to say it and be like, No, that's really what you, okay. Okay. Monique, finish the sentence for me.
Okay.
Because of my experience at my HBCU, I will not.
Because of my experience at my HBCU, I will not settle for mediocrity and basic behavior and basic low expectations.
So all of that, those who are watching, all of that was born out of there's so much I want to say, but
Say
it
it.
will keep us here for at least, it will keep us here for another hour. It
It's
will.
fun.
It
Okay,
will.
okay. I'm having
It
fun.
will keep us. This is, I'll say this very snippet.
Yeah.
Everything you just said, every single thing you just said is counterintuitive to some people's experiences at an HBCU. And if we had time to delve into it, what I think, because I wasn't there with her at Hampton, but what I think people would hear from you is there was a time that HBCU tradition and HBCU culture did so much to make sure that everything Monique just said is what you are going to walk away with. And I don't hear a lot of my current students saying the same thing. And I don't think that is terrible in the sense that every generation is going to have its own thing. However, I do hope that they hear what you just said, and out of longing for it, they start to rebuild some of those traditions. That is what I hope. I really do. Because there was a time. There was a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. If see, even you just went, yeah. Because you know we could literally now go down that road for an entire hour, and there'll be just so much to say about it.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about it after we finish
Okay.
recording. We're going to talk about it afterwards. We are. Monique, is there gosh, you have to come back. You do.
Yeah.
A part of me wants you to write another book. I know someone's going to ask you to write the guidebook for dating. Sure, you're going to do all of that. Beautiful. But after Reality and Chaos, I'm looking forward to, and it doesn't have to be a sequel, but I want to hear about that girlfriend story that they met each other in their 40s, or they met each other later on in life. And through your eyes and your words, I'm curious to live vicariously through them and see what that looks like. So I'm putting that out there in the universe that maybe Monique might write that one for Tosin as well. Just maybe.
Oh, you
But before
asked
we
me to
go,
Steve. I'm working on my next book, and it is definitely along those lines. So, yes.
okay, exciting, absolutely exciting. Monique, before we leave, there's I have so many notes, but we just talked, and I love the fact that we just talked. But is there anything that Tosin, I've been told to start talking about myself in the third person. Is there anything that I did not, you love it? Thank you. Is there anything that you would have wanted to either address, talk about, share, bless our audience with that I didn't get to during our conversation today? Please share it.
I will say this. I think it's important before I leave. One of the things that I admire about this generation, Gen Zers, as we call them, is they are productively disruptive, meaning they don't settle for letting people treat them any old kind of way. They don't settle for the norm if it doesn't work for them. They are branching out and doing things and just taking risks, taking chances in careers. They're not staying at jobs for 15 or 20 years miserable. Instead, they're making their own decisions and their own moves. And I love that about this generation. And I think it's also important as a big sister, because I am not your auntie if you are out of diapers. I'm your big sister. So as
Big
a big
sister.
and bringing it back to kind of dating, what I always love to tell, especially women who are younger, of Gen Z, in addition to pursuing your dreams, following your career, doing big things, make sure in addition to that, you are still open to the possibility of love. You can do that. You can do both simultaneously. So don't let anyone say, focus on this, don't focus on anything else. In addition to, be open to the possibilities in all areas of your life.
To every single college student at an HBCU, because this is about HBCUs,
Yes.
who has heard the sound of Big Sister Monique Kelley's voice, please heed her words. I wish I had a big sister, Monique Kelley, after that horrible heartbreak that would remind me, Tosin, you can still focus on love.
Yeah.
Monique Kelley, leave our audience with one, because I have to ask this, leave our audience with one parting word or short phrase on why you love Hampton University or love HBCUs.
HBCUs is what made me who I am today. It gave me the courage, the confidence, the experience, the education to do anything I set my mind to. And there was a beauty of doing it with people that looked like me.
I'm not adding anything to that because that was perfection. Monique Kelley, it has been my absolute joy having this conversation with you. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your smile, your energy, and your sage words. I really, really do. And I hope I have, to everybody else watching and listening, I really do hope I have at least convinced you that this is a podcast that you must subscribe to. And how could you not love this particular episode with Donna Summer in the background and Monique Kelley and Monique Kelley as my most amazing guest from Hampton University. Monique, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.